Hi guys, Alistair Taylor here, and today we're going to do a little bit of a comparison between forged and cast irons. So we're going to use the TAYLORMADE PSi Forged against the TAYLORMADE M2. We're going to hit 5 balls, real balls on SkyTrack, so very closed data. We're going to look at the performance differences in distance, height, spin, how playable they'll be on the course. But also I'm going to try and give you a bit of feedback as to kind of looks and feel. Maybe some of you guys have a stigma that I shouldn't play cast clubs or I should play forged clubs. You know, so I'm going to hit shots with these, give you some feedback. If you are looking to change irons, these are both good irons, but we're going to look at which performs best, who they might best suit, and then possibly which of these, or I'm going to do other videos with other manufacturers' equivalents, which possibly could be in your bag for this coming golf season. So, like I said, 5 shots with each. We're going to start with the M2. And I've done separate review videos on both of these irons, so I'm not going to get too much into all the technical stuff in it. But certainly when you put M2 behind the golf ball, it's a thick top line, it's a big chunky head, you know, looks like it's on steroids, looks like it should hit the ball a long way. So, we're going to set up and off we go. See, sets off straight, just turning over, nice high apex to the flight, pitching 176, 179 total. And straight away, I mean, if you're somebody that's after distance, M2 will not disappoint if you're after distance. You know, it looks powerful and it really jumps off the face, really feels like the ball's going to go a long way. So, second shot. Again, sets off slightly right, drawing back to target. Again, lovely high flight. 172 against 175. Okay guys, and again, you know, it's up there, it's out there, you know, and feel very, very forgiving. Very forgiving. I mean, I've struck both of those pretty solidly to begin with. But, you know, it really feels like the ball's going to go a long, long way. Again, felt lovely off the club face. Setting off just right, my usual shape. Be a touch lower on this one. Again, pitching 187, 191. So, and again, you know, another good one. And, I mean, particularly for me, guys that are looking for more distance with irons, and I know distance isn't the be all and end all, but I think we all would rather hit 7 iron than 6 iron, you know, and if you can get that bit more distance while still able to stop it on the green, it's a benefit for the majority of golfers out there. Okay, shot number 4 with M2. So much poorer strike, very, very low off the face, kind of still pitching 164, 170. Not the best, if I'm honest. So very kind of bottomy on the face, and that'd be a good little test to see what that slot in the sole of the club does. But one final one with M2. Certainly more of a toe strike there, but again setting off slightly right, nice high flight. Drawing just left of the target, still 174 and 177 total. Okay guys, so I mean, first 3, good solid strikes. 4th one a little bit off the bottom, final one a little bit towards the toe. Now with M2 though, there's no face slots, just the slot on the sole. But we're going to switch over to PSi Forged, and we're going to see how this compares. So, certainly when I put this behind the golf ball, I mean, just hugely different looking, much smaller head, thinner top line, you know, and for me this just looks like a club that's about precision. You know, it's forgiving because it's got the slots in the face and the sole, but this is about precision, and I think much more aimed at the guy who is going to find the middle of the club face more often, but has got that extra forgiveness in there if they don't. But 5 shots with PSi Forged. Felt good solid strike, again setting off just right, typical shape. Trajectory seemed pretty good for me there. 164, 163 total carry. Yeah, I mean that was good solid strike, but certainly didn't look like it went like M2 and didn't feel like it exploded off the face like M2 does. For me personally, I quite like that feeling of that forged club though. Shot 2. Again, set off a little bit straighter, turning slightly left of target, but again solid strike, 163, 166 total. And again, good solid shot. You know, and first 2 off there, certainly visual for me. The PSi Forged is hands down the best. Again, just right, pretty consistent for me with the Forged club, but 155, not quite as good a strike. Okay, so straight away for me, I feel there's a bit more consistency, surprisingly, with the so-called less forgiving club, the Forged club. Personally, I've always felt that the slightly smaller head, maybe I'm a little bit more, I don't know whether it's focused on finding the middle of the club face, but I always feel my strike's a bit more consistent with the smaller head. Again, setting off just right. Almost boring to watch with the Forged iron, pretty much the same shape of shot, 163 carry. Again, another good solid shot. And I think even before we look at numbers, I think it looks like this doesn't hit the ball as far. There are some reasons for that, and I'm going to talk about that when we look at the numbers and after we've looked at numbers. But final shot with PSi Forged. Again, felt another good solid strike, so as always, setting off a little right, finishing back on the target, 166 carry, 164 total. Okay guys, so let's look at some numbers. We've got TAYLORMADE M2 against PSi Forged, both 7 irons, but let's look at some results and talk about the differences in those results. Okay then guys, so when we look at the 5 shots with each club, we see, I mean, number 4 wasn't great with the M2, but we saw more ball speed from a very, very similar club head speed with both irons, but we saw more ball speed with M2. So definitely less loft, getting the ball moving quicker off the face. As a result of that less loft though, we also saw lower spin. Again, maybe not as much as you'd expect. Average walk by shot 4 slightly. And you could see a good difference in distance. I mean, the one that was the very poor strike with the M2 on number 4 went pretty much as far as the good strikes with the PSi Forged. So all in all, you know, M2 does what it's made to, gets it out there, really forgiving, really looking for more and more distance from an iron. M2's your club. Okay then guys, so we saw some very different results, I think, for bearing in mind they're both 7 iron. They're both set up identical, so same loft, same length, not the same loft though. This is where, with the design of the M2 head, much more mass down in the bottom, promoting getting the ball in the air, TaylorMade feel that they need to strengthen the lofts on this. Now the loft on the PSi Forged is 34, so not conventional any means, but much more what you would see nowadays for a 7 iron. The 7 iron on the M2 though is 28.5 degrees. So that's a big, big difference. We're looking at 5.5 degrees. So a club and a half. And when we look at the difference in distance, I would probably say that's just come from that loft. Now we did see with the numbers as well, much lower spin and much slightly lower launch with 7 iron. Again, I would put both of those, could argue that strike, possibly. But I think even on the good ones, the spin was lower, and that's down to less loft on the M2. So I think when we recap, everybody likes different looks in golf clubs and different feels. I personally, having grown up playing blades, I love the way the PSi Forged looks. I don't dislike the fact that the M2 feels like it jumps off the face, Possibly for me, that might make me feel I'd be a bit inconsistent with my yardages though. And I definitely felt that there was a bit more consistency with the PSi Forged. Having said that, not all you guys are going to swing like me and strike it like me. So I would say M2 very much aimed at the guy who wants to get the ball out there a little bit more. This will still get the ball in the air. The way this is designed, even with those stronger lofts, this is still going to get it in the air, but get you that little bit extra distance. And I think generally this will be more forgiving, even without the slots in the face, than PSi Forged. I think for your guy who loves the more traditional forged blade, but maybe doesn't strike it consistently enough to use something without that forgiveness, I think the PSi Forged gives you all of those things. Does it look good? Yes. Does it feel nice and soft? Yes. Does it kind of give that consistency? Yes, if you can find that strike consistency. And would it give you the ability to shape the ball a bit better? And certainly, I think probably stop it a little quicker into greens. For me, the better player will definitely go PSi Forged. I think maybe your mid to higher handicapper will always lean towards the M2. I can imagine maybe your better player who isn't brilliant with possibly 3 or 4 iron in that may look for something like M2 as something he would use off the tee from time to time. But all in all, there is a big difference in price between forged and cast. I think if you're not sure which one, whichever manufacturer, you need to get fitted, you need to try them both and see pros and cons for each, weigh up which is best for you. Thank you for watching. As ever, I do appreciate you taking the time to watch my videos. Leave any comments below. Let me know if you've got either of these in your bag. Did you get fitted and find that neither of these were right for you? Subscribe to the channel if you don't already. Hopefully catch up with some of you guys down here in the future. Stay in contact.